How's it going, everyone? It is Griffin here from FilmSpeak, back with the frontrunners, and I'm joined, as always, by my partner in crime on this show, Mr. Tyler Tompkins. Tyler, what are we doing today?
We've got a lot to talk about, man. We've got a lot to talk about.
We do. For those of you who don't know, today is a very, very important day for us, awards enthusiasts and Oscar fans. It is the Oscar nominations day. They announced all of the films that were going to be nominated for the 92nd Academy Awards this morning, bright and early for us West Coast folks. We're talking like literally 5 in the morning. Did you wake?
5?
Did you wake up at 5?
Dude, I woke up before my alarm. Like I was so excited. I woke up like at 4:50.
Whoa! All
Let's
right.
go. Let's go. I'm ready.
Listen, it's a very exciting time for us. And as I was watching the nominations, I had several thoughts, going through my head. Just some that we'll touch on, some that we won't touch on. But basically, if you guys are new to the Frontrunners, it's an award season show. We break down certain aspects of the award season, and today we're talking about the nominations. But we do want to let you all know that we are going to take time for your live viewer questions. It's really simple. You can just send us a chat in there, and then we'll hopefully get to it. If you want to make sure your question gets answered, feel free to send us a super chat. That is not a requirement, but if you do want to ensure that your question is answered, that is the best way to do so. So let's get talking Oscars. So the nominations are this morning. Which category do you want to start? Or actually, before we even go into the categories, what were your overall thoughts on the nominations as a whole?
I mean, it went exactly as expected. Of course, there are always snubs, some pretty huge snubs, but pretty much went according to plan.
Yeah,
for the most part.
I would.
Too shocked.
Yeah, I really wasn't shocked either, and I know a lot of people were surprised or kind of disappointed by a lot of the stuff in there. But like, I gotta agree with you. I mean, a lot of this really, unfortunately, didn't surprise me. And we'll get into the unfortunate part of that a little bit later on. But yeah, it was some of the choices I was like, okay, obviously they had to go there, but then some of the choices I was like, well, this just feels like they're kind of playing it safe, especially in terms of the acting. So let's get into this thing. We're watching this live. We got a lot of you in here, and we want to get to some of your questions. So thank you all for watching us. Let's start with the first category, which is...
So we're going to start at the bottom and build our way to like the big ones. So we'll start with Best Visual Effects.
Okay, yep.
So the nominees were Avengers Endgame, The Irishman, The Lion King, 1917, and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, those
I mean,
all pretty
predictable.
solid. Yeah, I mean
nothing too shocking.
Yeah, no, I mean to me it all makes sense.
I'm kind of glad. I didn't really think 1917 would, but I'm really happy it did.
I'm very happy it got in.
And
apparently, and if you have been paying attention, it gave a really great presentation during its VFX. Basically, when the way the whole visual effects is they give a presentation on the breakdowns of the effects that they did in the movie, and apparently their presentation went really, really well.
Yeah, the only one I'll say is The Lion King's kind of weird.
See, but to me, like, as much as I hate that movie, it is a visual effects achievement.
I know, for some reason, like, to me, this is just a me thing. Like, when I think visual effects, I think like there has to be like actors and like real people in there.
And that's
like I would like to
see
Alita Battle Angel there.
I agree.
That would have been awesome.
And actually, that is the one that I would have liked to have seen in there. It was Alita Battle Angel. I would have actually what I would have done is I would have taken out Star Wars and I would have put in Alita, because I don't think the effects in Star Wars were that great. I actually think some of the effects in this most recent Star Wars were worse than some of the effects in the previous film. So that's just my quick take.
Yeah, I'm notorious for loving The Rise of Skywalker, but to me, I mean, it looked the same as the previous two, and those two got nominated. So that's why I wasn't surprised.
Yeah,
It's gonna get nominated for something
for sure. Alita definitely deserved better. Hector, I saw your chat there. Okay, so let's go on to the next category. What do we got?
Okay, so the next one is we'll do Best Makeup and Hairstyling.
Okay.
So the nominees were Bombshell, Joker, Judy, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, and 1917.
Yeah. No real surprises. The Maleficent one was pretty shocking, but also,
but it makes sense.
Yeah, I was kind of lukewarm on that film. You enjoyed it much more than me, but the makeup and the way that they made her, like they made Angelina Jolie look like Maleficent.
Behind the scenes videos, like showing
excellent.
her. Yeah, really cool seeing that get nominated for that.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, pretty predictable. Like I said, nothing too shocking. Again, cool seeing 1917 there.
For makeup and hairstyling, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's a war film. There's a lot of, effects, practical effects that go into that. It was not nominated for another category that I am still scratching my head over. Just going to address the chat real quick. Although, Jacob Juice, hey, great to see you, dude. Although Avengers Endgame is a film that can't exist without CGI, I hope The Irishman gets it. The visual effects and the faces at the end of the film were amazing. I actually think they are going to give the award to The Irishman just because of what it accomplished.
Me too.
So I'll go with that. Kashav, hey buddy, how's it going? Are you talking about the VFX? Yeah, we did talk about the VFX. We are now on to makeup and hairstyling. Scott Sullivan, 1917 didn't have too many visual effects. It had a lot of practical special effects, but I wonder, actually, if you look at some of the breakdowns, there were a lot of subtle visual effects used, and I think it was their integration into the film with practical effects that landed it a nomination. Because yes, on
the plane scene.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, the plane scene for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Keshav, I hate how they didn't nominate Endgame for more than just a measly visual. I'm really not surprised about that. Unfortunately, we'll get into that a little bit later on, but yeah, unfortunately, the Endgame didn't really have any momentum going into the award season. All right, moving on to the next category here.
So we're gonna do best costume design next.
Yeah, this one was
kind of a weird one.
I was not happy about this one for some reason.
Yeah, so we got The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
To me, out of all of the nominees, only one of them really, really impressed me, and that was Little Women. Little Women,
that one should win.
That one should win. It's not going to win. It'll probably be Joker, but that's ridiculous. There are three films missing from this category that really irritate me. One is Rocket Man. I think Rocket Man's absence from this category is ridiculous. If you're going to tell me that Joker has better costume design than Rocket Man, you're out of your goddamn mind. Or The Irishman, or like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for that matter. Like, yeah, I get they're recreating period authentic clothing, especially for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but no. Like, what Rocket Man did in terms of costume design, they recreated Elton John's wardrobe, and it looked so authentic. Like, that blows my mind. The other one I would have nominated is Ruth. It's like Ruth Carter. I forget her name. The costume designer for Dolomite is My Name. Dolomite was robbed of a nomination and truthfully a win. I thought the costume design in Dolomite was exceptional, and to see its absence from this category, once again, for stuff like The Irishman, Joker, Jojo Rabbit, costumes that were good but they didn't have that wow factor, mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, I knew when I saw Rocket Man wasn't nominated, I was thinking, I immediately thought, I was like, Taron's probably not going to get in. If they're not going to nominate it for costume, they're not going to nominate him for Best Actor. Like, that was crazy. And I'm someone who didn't really love Rocket Man, and I thought it was ridiculous that it didn't get a nomination, because that was what it should have won. It's absurd
that Rocket Man didn't get a and Dolomite,
Dolomite too. Yeah.
Like, that's unbelievable. And then the other one, I'm shocked didn't get in is 1917. Because of how authentic it was.
Did they do Jojo Rabbit?
They did JoJo.
They did
JoJo for costume over 1917, which once again kind of blows my mind. I would have liked to have seen 1917 in this category because of how authentic to the period it was. But also another one, an outside pick that I would have liked to have seen was The Lighthouse. Where's The Lighthouse love in this category? Like, if you listen to anything Robert Eggers said about the making of that movie, the being time period authentic to the what is it, like the 1700s or whatever? Whatever time period it was like a huge part of that. I mean, like. Anyways, I could go off on a tangent on this. Yeah, Adam, I agree. Midsommar, you could even count for that. There were so many other films they could have gone with over Joker, Jojo Rabbit, and The Irishman, it just to me it was like the Academy playing it safe. They only saw a select number of movies, which this is going to be a repeating theme throughout this episode, but they only saw like certain number of films, and they were just like, well, yeah, we'll just give it to that one.
Yeah, it did. Hang on, let me look. Oh, okay, yeah, I was about to say if Once Upon a Time, but it did. I thought Once Upon a Time, that's pretty good.
For costumes,
yeah,
that's the only one that more so than the other thing, because it did have a little bit more style to it, but still, like. No Dolomite, no Rocket Man. That really bugs me. But anyways, moving on. Or actually, let's address the chat real quick before we move in. See, we got some of you guys watching. Captain Marvel did those de-aging effects scenes. Yeah, they did. Captain Marvel did. But I think when you look at how many of them were in The Irishman, and how it was how they like transitioned throughout the decades and stuff with them, it was basically like applying new sets of makeup to these characters, and so I thought the way Scorsese used it was innovative. Surprised Dolomite missed out on costumes. Yeah, I am too, man. Really, really bummed about that. Besides the outfit, Joker's costume design was a bit too basic for my taste. Fair enough. I liked Joker's look, but
to me that's like it's kind of like an iconic costume now, you know.
It is
the way the Joker looks. That's why I can kind of buy into.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Right. I like the Joker's look and his costume, but I don't think like it's like one costume does not make costume design. You know what I'm saying? Like I can almost understand it for makeup and hairstyling, but like that to me was just kind of crazy. Joker might not win, but in terms of acting, I hope Joaquin Phoenix wins. Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit later on. Todd Phillips' Joker looks better than Birds of Prey from a marketing standpoint. Well, I think it probably will be a better film. Yeah. Dolomite and Rocketman both deserved. Yes, they definitely did. Same, everyone. Oh, you guys seem to be echoing the same sentiment that Dolomite, Rocketman were definitely robbed of nominations here. And I'm just glad to see a lot of people recognizing that The Lighthouse is now one of my all-time favorite movies ever. Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe's performance in the movie is beyond mind-blowing, and Robert Eggers is totally an amazing director. Completely agree with you. We'll get into maybe some of those names that we would have liked to have seen popped up in different categories. All right, back to the categories. What do we got next?
Yeah, so editing.
Oh, this is a big one. This is a big one.
So we've got Ford v Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, and Parasite.
Big surprise in there that I was thrilled to see, Parasite.
No, yeah, me too. I'm so happy it made it. To be honest, I'm happy with all the nominations. I'm just, there's two missing, man.
There are two missing. There's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is missing, and 1917 is missing. And before you go on with 1917 was just a one-shot movie. What would it do in an editing category? Shut your damn mouth. If you actually, and I mentioned this on another podcast that I was recently on, if you want to understand the craft and the artistry behind the editing in 1917, go look at a podcast called The Art of the Cut. It's an editing podcast where they sit down with editors of different films, and the host of that show sat down with Lee Smith, who was the editor on 1917, talked about his work on the film, and it's kind of it's so insane, just the attention to detail and the artistry behind his work on that movie. I think what people don't realize is that editing isn't necessarily about the flashiest cuts or about the most editing, as we saw in Bohemian Rhapsody last year. Sometimes it's about making something look seamless or the making a viewer not notice cuts. And that was something that I thought 1917 did exceptionally well. Yes, you could maybe tell a few times when they'd go into a dark room that there was probably a cut there. You can guess, but there's a lot of that movie where, I know you feel the same, you just can't, like, I'm sitting there, I'm watching how they stitched this thing together to look so seamless, you know?
Yeah, and I think another part of the problem is the editing is so good. People, they don't leave it thinking about the editing. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so good you don't even pick up on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But to me, the real winner should be Uncut Gems. Like, I wish that would have been nominated.
Yep.
That was like...
massive snub there.
Yeah, I can't believe that. Yeah, just Uncut Gems and as a whole, like, it's very sad.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Uncut Gems in there. Surprised Hollywood wasn't in there. Yeah,
that's another... Yeah, I'm shocked that one wasn't there, too.
Yeah.
There's that whole thing now, people... they're kind of freaking out about Best Picture because what you were saying the last
Yeah.
time.
The last time that a Best Picture winner wasn't nominated for editing was when Birdman won, which suffered a similar fate, or not fate, but it suffered a similar issue that 1917 is currently suffering, in that people aren't appreciating or noticing the editing because it is a long continuous type movie. So if we're making comparisons to Birdman, Birdman won Best Picture that year. So I don't think that a lack of an editing nomination here hurts 1917.
I don't think it hurts both the 1917 or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be irrelevant this year probably.
Yeah, for sure. I also agree that it might be. Out of the nominees, I think Thelma Shoemaker for The Irishman is going to win. Making a 3.5 hour long movie breeze by is honestly one of the most impressive feats that I've ever seen. So I think that's going to be the winner there. But all right, moving on to the next. Actually, keep forgetting to address the chat. So let's go in here.
Fine, yeah.
Let's go in here and address the chat before we move on. Sam Mendes will win Best Director. We will get to that momentarily. I hope to never have to watch that nonsense Lighthouse ever again as long as I live. Hey man, I get it. It's not a film for everyone. I loved it. I think you were less high on it, but
no, yeah, I liked it. I thought it was fine.
Yeah. Uncut. Hey, Shifty, how's it going, man? Uncut Gems, 0 noms. Yeah. Very disappointed in that.
It's the saddest part of this whole thing.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, I can't believe it. Finally watched The Lighthouse last Tuesday, and I really loved it. Great, man. I'm happy you loved that. A YouTuber deep faked the Irishman actors better than the official studio release. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. But I hope for The Irishman. The film was 3.5 hours freaking long, and it was the first frame until. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Jacob. The Irishman is a masterclass in pacing, and I think Thelma Shoemaker gets a lot of credit for that. I think, losing the chat here a little bit. I think if Birdman didn't get the nom, maybe that's why 1917 didn't get one. Crazy, it didn't get it. I completely agree, Adam. I can't believe it didn't get in either. I wouldn't say good, Scott. I wouldn't say good editing is invisible. Some of the best cuts in history stand out. I'm not disagreeing with that.
No. We're saying in the case of 1917.
Yeah, I think there are times when the editing is so subtle and unnoticeable that you don't realize how much of a difference it's making in its film. That's all I'm really saying. That 1917 will win Best Picture. I hope so. 1917 was edited in pre-production. That's not entirely true. I think Parasite might have a chance at picture now. I actually agree with you, Adam. I think out of all the films nominated here, Parasite is the film that benefits most from its editing nomination. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think the fact that I'm just so happy it got nominated. Okay, there's a lot of questions here. We'll get to them a little bit later on, so let's move back into the nominations, though.
So we're going to tackle the two sound categories next. So we've got Best Sound Editing, Ford v. Ferrari, Joker, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
No real surprises here. No.
Not really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe part of me thinks some of the sound categories could have gone to Uncut Gems, because of the sheer amount of layering that was going on.
Uncut Gems should have had like 12 or 13 nominations.
I know, dude. It blows my mind. But yeah, in terms of the sound, what was the sound editing?
Yeah, sound editing.
Yeah, not really surprised there, and I'm sure it'll probably go to like 1917 when it's all said and
either
done.
that or Ford v. Ferrari. One of those two.
Yeah,
probably 1917 though. They always go for the war movies.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I'd like to say like Ford v Ferrari. I think I said this like later on or earlier on the show several times, or even during my review. I had a feeling Ford v Ferrari was going to be a heavyweight in the sound categories and the technical categories, which it's proven to be. Yeah.
So best sound mixing, we've got Ad Astra, Ford v Ferrari, Joker, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, thrilled to see Ad Astra in there.
Yes.
Thrilled to see Ad Astra.
I know a lot of people didn't think that was going to make the cut for any of the categories, but...
Yeah. Hey, I mean, listen, it only got one nomination, but I'm just happy Ad Astra got some love thrown its way. That was one of the ones I was happy about.
Yeah, no real surprises here. I mean, these have been the same for basically every other awards show.
Yeah, for sure.
So now moving on to music, we've got Best Original Song.
Yes, Best Original Song, yeah.
This one has some pretty fun ones. So we've got I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away from Toy Story 4.
kind of surprised by that.
Shocked.
Not, I mean, like, yeah, it was a cute little ditty, but like, I'm very surprised it got in.
Yeah, me too. I'm Gonna Love Me Again, Rocket Man.
Yep.
Your winner.
Yep.
I'm Standing With You, Breakthrough, Into the Unknown, Frozen 2, and Stand Up, Harriet.
Yeah. The original songs, I think, well, I mean, the only real surprise I think in there was Toy Story taking the place of Beyonce's song for The Lion King, right?
Yeah, I would have liked to see that. David Ehrlich, the film reporter.
Oh,
Twitter,
yeah.
he kept talking about Glass Glow.
Yeah, Glass Glow. Yeah.
Glass Glow, and I would like to see that.
Yeah, that's right.
Really good song.
Yeah, that one's
Buckley.
Yeah, Jesse Buckley. That would have been great. Or actually, thank you, Octagon. Tom York for Daily Battles.
Oh yeah. That should be, to me. That should
be winning.
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think Elton John's gonna probably win that one. If he doesn't win, then probably Into the Unknown. But
That's
Frozen 2 didn't get any love, so I'm feeling Elton for that one.
Me too. Pretty easy. So best original score.
Yes.
We've got Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, man.
I'm happy with that.
Where's Alan Silvestri? Where the fuck is Alan Silvestri? Listen. I love John Williams. John Williams is legitimately, I mean, he is one of the greats of all time. His score for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker was okay. It was basically John Williams playing the greatest hits. Alan Silvestri with Avengers Endgame composed one of his best, arguably his best score to date. And the music was so effective. So many people, like people who don't even listen to film score music, were out like listening to Portals. They called that sequence the Portals sequence because of the Portals, but like because of the song. I feel like Silvestri should have gotten a nomination off of Portals alone. It's just that powerful of a piece. But then you go beyond that, and it's like,
I think that's its problem, though. It's like it's just Portals.
But I disagree.
Because I'm in the minority again. I love The Rise of Skywalker. To me, that's John Williams' best Star Wars score as a whole.
Oh, what?
As a whole, dude.
Oh,
because, like,
man.
You know, you have like Episode 1, Duel of the Fates, and like, you know, some like most of them have like one really good hit that a lot of people talk about. But as a whole, I thought Williams knocked it out of the park. I really did. Like, I think it's a great score. I know Silvestri's score is great too. Like, I'm not saying it's not bad, but maybe that's why it didn't get nominated, because they were like, people only talk about Portals.
Maybe, but here's the thing. I was talking to Sean Chandler a little bit about this, and he was saying, like, you know, there are pieces of memorable music in Avengers Endgame, like A Real Hero, the Tony Stark funeral piece, obviously Portals, some of the stuff at the beginning with Thanos, but he's like, you can pinpoint the names of those pieces. You can't with the Rise of Skywalker, it's not like it's a score that I can't really pinpoint different like pieces of music. It all sort of just like blends together and just feels like it feels like Williams playing the greatest hits. Now, I see a lot of you in the chat disagreeing with me. Listen, I am not saying Endgame is Silvestri's best score. I am saying it is one of his best scores, and this is the guy who composed, obviously, Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, whatever. Like, I mean, the guy is a legend in his own right. I get that. I'm not saying that Endgame is his best score to date. I'm saying it is one of his best scores, and the guy has never won an Academy Award, and I think it's mind-blowing to think about that. Out of all the people on this list, Williams is the one I'd knock off, and I'd put Silvestri on there in a heartbeat.
I would knock both of them off and put Uncut Gems.
Daniel Lopatin for Uncut Gems, dude. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, Adam. He said the same thing.
Oh, he said he would take 50-second nom for Williams, but for the score, not
Endgame or Uncut Gems.
Endgame or Uncut Gems. Yeah, I agree.
But again, like, it doesn't really matter that fifth slot too much, because
it's gonna go to Hilder.
Like,
it is.
Or like 10% chance Thomas Newman.
I'm praying Thomas Newman gets in. Like, it just blows my mind in a year where Thomas Newman did what he did in 1917. He's never won an Oscar.
If Newman had won an Oscar before, it wouldn't hurt as much, because I love the Joker score. You know, it's my second favorite score of the year.
Same. Yeah, we're both on the same page with that one. Yeah,
we're pretty similar on scores this year, other than, you know, the whole Star Wars Avengers thing. But like, dude, Tom needs an Oscar.
I know.
And this is the time to win it.
Yeah. I just it's crazy to me. Gonna go back to the chat here. So yeah, some of you guys were disagreeing with me on the the end game thing. Totally fine. Jacob Juice brought up a good one. The score for Apollo 11, the documentary.
I don't even remember it.
Excellent score. Really, really good. Octagon also, yes, I agree. I thought the score for Alita Battle Angel was excellent. I would have liked to have seen that in there as well over The Rise of Skywalker. And yeah, you guys just also legitimately upset that Alan Silvestri didn't get in as well. I think that something must have made those members unkindly scared. This is what I kind of equated to. I think they were like, oh, it's John Williams. Oh, John Williams always does good Star Wars music. Oh, it's the last Star Wars movie. They probably didn't pay too much attention to that or listen to that. They were probably just like, John Williams, last Star Wars movie nominated.
Well, we did have a super chat real quick, by the way.
Oh, we did. Oh, shoot. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Right there. It's Shifty. There you go. What nomination made you happiest, and what snub hurt you the most? We're gonna answer that, Shifty. But when we want to go through all the nominations first. But don't worry. We're gonna come back to that. Okay. So going through here, agree on the music for Endgame. It was absolutely stunning. It should have been completely agree. A lot of you guys are praying Thomas Newman wins the Oscar there. Yeah, I completely agree there. It's time for Thomas Newman to win first. It is. Listen, Thomas Newman should have won for American Beauty. And the fact that he didn't win for American Beauty still blows my mind to this day. Did John Williams really need a 50-second nomination? Yeah, probably not. There's probably other, there are other things he could have been nominated for. But all right, going back to the nominations here. That one was one that
so we're going to
stung.
skip the shorts because...
Yeah, no. We haven't watched it. Although, I do want to give a shout out to Hair Love by Matthew Cherry's
really
Hair
good
Love
one.
got nominated. It's gonna win. Yeah.
That one's great. So documentary feature. We have American Factory, The Cave, The Edge of Democracy, For Sama, and Honeyland. I've seen none of those.
Two massive holes in this list: Apollo 11 and One Child Nation.
Yeah.
Where in the living hell are those two films? And I don't know. Did you see Apollo 11?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
Okay, but out of all the would you say that was probably the best documentary to come out last year?
Like the most memorable because it's like an achievement.
What they did with the archival footage in recreating like the actual moon landing, not even recreating, just like
that could have gotten a best editing nomination.
It should have. The editing in that movie was unbelievable. But just basically like bringing to life the Apollo 11 moon landing. They did it in such like a visceral way. I mean, it was an exceptional documentary, and it blows my mind that film was not even nominated for feature.
They did the same thing last year, and I will say it was a pretty weak year for documentaries.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a few good ones, but...
I don't know.
I haven't seen any of these. I heard American Factory is actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's the only one I've seen, or not seen, but that's the only one I've heard anything about.
Osama too.
Yeah. But also One Child Nation, shocked. That one was, that one was really. I mean, it was another one that was. Yeah, it was supposed to be an excellent one. So. Yeah. That one was ridiculous. Jacob, yes, I saw Apollo 11 in IMAX. Holy moly, it was beautiful. I agree with you. That was one of the most visceral film-going experiences I had last year, and it happened all the way back in like February, January, or whatever when I saw Apollo 11. I felt like I experienced the moon landing like the people who lived it.
I wish they had done like released it like the same day as First Man, and you could have just watched them back to back.
Yeah,
that would have been really cool.
It's a really interesting because you kind of watch First Man, you get the inside of what like the crew were thinking, and then obviously Apollo 11 showing the massive scope of the event. What they did with that archival footage was insane. Now I'm gonna ask you a question because I saw this on Twitter. Do you think that the Academy they don't receive films that use archival footage as well? Because we saw a snub last year with Won't You Be My Neighbor.
Yeah, I mean, it must be because, I mean, Won't You Be My Neighbor, it was one of those movies, like, it almost should have been nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah.
Like, it was that good. So maybe they have something against that because I guess it is documentarians voting for that. Like, who votes for that branch?
Well, but everyone votes for it, so that's the thing.
Everyone will vote for documentary
yeah, because that's the Academy.
I guess. I don't know. They messed
weird.
up. every year.
They really do.
I mean, at least Free Solo won last year. But
right.
I don't know.
All right, moving on into this. 1917 isn't the best movie of the year. It's the best of the decade. You know, we're gonna drop a top 10 films of the 2010s list later on, hopefully during this week or something like that. Don't be surprised if you see 1917 on there somewhere. So, Road to Perdition is excellent. Should have won for that too, probably. John Early, I would have been happy if Thomas Newman had won for Skyfall score. Dude, preach, brother. Like his score for Skyfall was so distinct, so different. I completely agree. It would have been
nominated like I think 19 or 20 times.
He's been nominated so many times.
And one for Shawshank, Meet Joe Black, like Road to Perdition. I saw someone bring that up earlier.
Yeah, it blows. Revolutionary Road. Yeah, I mean, it's
Passengers was a good score, man.
Yeah, even when like the movie's bad, Thomas Newman's score is excellent. So he's one of the greats. But yeah, Apollo 11 comments there. Yeah. All right. So moving back into the categories here.
So we can do best international feature film.
Yes.
They changed the name.
Best foreign film or
Best international
feature film. Yeah.
So we got Corpus Christi, Honeyland, Les Miserables, Pain and Glory, and Parasite.
Yep, Parasite's taking this one home.
Yeah, no shocks.
No shock in there. Great to see Pain and Glory in there, and Les Miserables, obviously.
Kind of cool. Honeyland, Best International Feature Film, was also nominated for Best Documentary Feature.
Oh, yeah, that is pretty cool.
Little double nomination, actually.
The only one, and I think some of you are probably curious about that this Portrait of a Lady on Fire probably wasn't nominated, or not even probably, but wasn't nominated because it wasn't eligible. It did not have a theatrical release this year. It is getting a full theatrical release in, I believe, February of this year. So, not too surprised there, but yeah, I think regardless, even if Portrait was nominated, Parasite would still be taking this one home.
Yeah, that doesn't really matter. In all honesty, that'd be cool if it could get nominated next year, but who knows what foreign movies are going to be coming out.
Right, exactly.
Year, you know?
John Early, yes, Green Mile was Thomas Newman as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to address the chat. Will you pull up the next one? 1917 is not a good movie. It's the best movie ever made. It's brilliant. Everyone has to go to see it. I encourage you. You know what, Raphael? I wouldn't go that far, but hell yes to your enthusiasm. I will say this, it's become one of my favorite movies of all time, so I love your enthusiasm. I completely agree. Everyone needs to go see 1917. A lot of I really need Parasite. Okay, guys, I haven't seen 1917 yet, but have seen all the other nominees, and they are great. Is 1917 really that good?
Pretty good.
Yes. 1917 is exceptional, so highly recommend seeing that. Hector, I really need to watch Parasite. Yeah, you do, man. That movie is...
I think it hits digital tomorrow, Hector, so
yeah,
there you go.
There you go. You can check Parasite out tomorrow. John Riggs, Parasite can't win Best Picture because they will not reward a film. 2 big awards on that.
See, that's my argument for it, but I don't know.
No, I disagree. I think that Parasite still has a lot of momentum in this race, and the fact that it was nominated for Best Picture shows me that people love this movie, and they are prepared to reward it for being as good as it is. So,
on to Best Animated Feature Film, we've got How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, I Lost My Body, Klaus, Missing Link, and Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
At least there's no Lion King.
At least there's no Lion King. At least there's no Frozen 2. I'm really happy with these nominations. Honestly,
I've not seen I Lost My Body or Klaus, or Missing Link, but I've heard all 3 are great.
Dude, Klaus is
Klaus.
so good.
Klaus,
it's such a delightful movie. I'm thrilled that it landed a nomination. This has actually been a really great nominations for. It's been great for Netflix. Netflix has been doing excellent.
Dude.
They've been killing it
this year with them. They're becoming pretty strong.
They're a big powerhouse. Who do you think is going to win this category?
I think Toy Story will, but I'm hoping How to Train Your Dragon will.
I'm in the same boat as you. Yeah, I think
I want How to Train Your Dragon to win at least one time, and that movie was great.
Yeah,
it was a great finale to the trilogy.
Yeah, completely agree.
So on to Best Adapted Screenplay.
Oh boy,
so we're getting to the big ones.
Here we go. All right, Scott Sullivan, if you're watching, get ready.
We've got The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, The Two Popes. It's pretty, not surprising at all.
What? Listen, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I knew it was going to happen. Why the fuck is Joker in there?
What would you put in though over Joker?
I'd have to because
Like no
determining.
big,
Yeah, I mean,
caused so much controversy. Like,
yeah,
people have been talking about this movie on Twitter since even before it came out, like July.
Yeah,
before it even came out, like, and it has just maintained that momentum. Like, you have to give it like best screenplay.
like okay, but I think on the merits of what should be nominated on like quality of work, the screenplay for Joker, regardless of what you think about the film. Listen, I like Joker. I think Joker I think it's a good movie, and I think there's a lot to like about it. Some of the areas where it's not necessarily its strong suit are in screenplay and directing.
Which one would you give it over? Which one would you pick between the screenplay and directing?
Well, directing, obviously, but that's because I think the screenplay feels like someone's first draft. I think some of the dialogue, especially towards the end, is so on the nose.
People really like that whole what it has to say about the mental health and everything, dude.
I think there is good stuff in here. No,
I don't care.
I'm joking.
I'm joking. Yeah.
No. I like that we're disagreeing on this, but like,
people come after you, man.
but like, here's the thing. I think there is good stuff in the Joker script. I don't think the script as a whole is anything to write home about. I don't think it's like there are other films that I probably would have put in there. I would just have to go back and look and see what I don't have them off the top of my head, but to me, the writing for Joker was by far its weakest attribute, and so it just irritates me that got in.
I will say though, I think when I look at this list, I think all 5 are pretty deserving because like I said, like I really don't know who else I would put in over these 5. I don't think the Two Popes is just boring. I don't like this movie having any Oscar nominations at all. I think it's probably the most overrated movie of the year.
I would agree. I would agree.
And I'll say, Jojo Rabbit. Like, what do you think about that one?
I'm happy Jojo got a screenplay nom. Yeah,
Taika, but like, I don't know. I think those two. I think Joker deserves it over those two for sure. But Little Women and
definitely
The Irishman,
not.
I think
definitely not Jojo.
Those two. Like, if I had to pick like which one was the best, I would say The Irishman or Little Women. I'd like Little Women to get it.
Yeah, I agree. Scott. Yeah, the actual Joker screenplay is not very good at all. I just think when it boils down to it, because I know a lot of you are probably gonna wonder why I don't necessarily like the screenplay for Joker. I think a lot of the dialogue is on the nose. A lot of the writing feels very surface level. I think some of the messaging contradicts what it's trying to say, and I don't think the film is saying anything new.
I disagree with that because he flipped the genre on its head. Like, this is a completely different.
Well, okay, here. Like
he grounded it in reality.
Yes, I think he did something good for the genre, and that's one of the reasons why I like this film. When you look at it in the larger context of cinema, Joker is Martin Scorsese light, and we'll get to Phillips' nomination for directing, which is one of the things that I struggle with. It is so indebted to films like Taxi Driver and The King of Comedy and Mean Streets. It is literally an amalgamation of the things Phillips says it's an amalgamation of, and it doesn't try to do anything new, which is one of the reasons Martin Scorsese detached himself from that project. He was like, I've already been through this. I've seen the exact same things. I don't want to do this again. It's not where I'm at in my life. So to me, Joker for adapted screenplay, it's just, I get why it got nominated because the people love this film, but it is not a screenplay that is awards worthy. So that's just
and I don't think it should win, but I just don't know what else
I would have to go back and see what qualifies as adapted versus what qualifies as original. But okay, we're gonna address the chat here because I know I spent a lot of time on my soapbox there. Apologies for that. You should read the actual Joker script. Yeah, I completely agree. Are you of the opinion that The Dark Knight was better writing than the Joker? Yes, I am. I think The Dark Knight was far better writing than the Joker. It was far more nuanced. I don't know. What do you think?
I like the Joker more than the Dark Knight.
Okay.
So people won't agree with me, but I like the Dark Knight.
Yeah,
it's not bad writing at all.
Yeah. Totally agree. Okay, so The Two Popes doesn't really grab my attention as much as some of the other movies. I think, I actually think The Two Popes, one of its strong suits is its writing, because it is a very dialogue centric movie, and I think that it does have a lot to say about people with differences of opinions and faith, and so there's interesting stuff in there, but for the most part, I'm with you, man. I think that film is, it's boring.
Give me a break. Like,
it's
it
really
be
boring.
nominated for anything.
Yeah, I completely agree. Still need to watch my Two Popes screener. Yeah, it's okay. I really love Joker, but I can definitely agree with some of your points to extent, Griffin. Thank you, Griffin. You're speaking my mind for Joker Adapted. Well, I'm glad you guys seem to be resonating with me. Fong the Hun, Joker is kind of Taxi Driver, but for millennials, and it tries to touch on issues such as mental illness, but it comes across as a self-pity orgy. Completely get that. I get that. I know you probably disagree, but oh shoot, losing a little bit of the chat here. One of the nominations for Two Popes took one person's spot, and it's the biggest fucking snub. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Scott Sullivan, if you watched the roundtable discussion from THR, Phillips admits he hasn't seen The Irishman. I know. I actually watched that roundtable, which was where I found out that Marty didn't want to be a part of Joker because he'd already done it before, and he'd already been through all of that. So, yeah, John Riggs, I agree on Joker's Scorsese influence on Joker, but I think that's exactly why the film feels so far above. Listen, I think when you compare it to other movies in the comic book genre, yes, it is definitely something different. It's aiming to be more than a comic book film. I'm just saying, when you take a step back and you look at the big picture and you look at this movie as just like a movie in cinema, it's doing something similar that we've already seen before that's been done better by Martin Scorsese. Even look at a film like Lynn Ramsey's You Were Never Really Here, which does Taxi Driver, but does Taxi Driver with a new spin on it. It's the vision of Lynn Ramsey. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just feels so different. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. Todd Phillips got an adapted screenplay nom for adapting Martin Scorsese's movie. Yeah, I've seen that floating around. I agree. Uncut Gems not getting nominations for sound editing, cinematography, score, actor, direction, and picture just proves the Academy Awards is a farce.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. I think Endgame might take home visual effects, but I wouldn't be surprised if either Irishman. Lion King owns VFX, no competition. I'm still iffy on the Lion King, but okay, let's move on to original screenplay.
Yeah, so original screenplay, we've got Knives Out, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite.
All right, let's get your take on it first.
I'm happy with everything. I just wanted Uncut Gems. That's
Dude,
literally it.
Gems, man.
That's all I wanted. But yeah, all the other five were, pretty predictable for the most part. Knives Out, that's cool that it got in.
Yeah,
I knew it probably would though. because it's had some some hype.
Yeah. I was I'm sorry. Knives Out was the big one to me. I was just like, fuck yes, thank you. Like, Rian Johnson deserved that nomination so bad.
I can't think of any. What do you think about 1917 in the script?
Thrilled. I was nervous because I was afraid that people weren't going to appreciate that script, because it's not the flashiest, it doesn't have the most dialogue, and it's, when you compare it to other scripts in the category, it probably isn't. I don't know, I'd probably go with other ones over it, but like I think what 1917, what that movie does is it's a great examination of these two characters, and I think there was like even stuff where it was like the shooting script was like for like certain sequences were like pages and pages long just because of it. And I think the thing people don't realize is there's so much more that goes into screenwriting than just dialogue. So exactly. That to me, I was happy to see that
me
rewarded.
Too, because that one I didn't know if that was going to get nomination or not.
Yeah, for sure.
Popping up like in a couple places, like the BAFTAs, of course, but it's you just kind of hope that it pops up here too.
No, for sure. But yeah, no. Thrilled at the Knives Out nomination. I hope that Rian Johnson can bring that one home, because it is by far my favorite script of the year. I think it's the best written script of the year. The other thing I would have liked to have seen in there would have been The Lighthouse, just for how unbelievable those epic monologues are. Like, the writing in that movie, holy shit.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Someone also mentioned The Farewell. What would you have taken out if you were gonna put The Farewell in there?
For original. Would it be original or adapted?
Yeah, no, it would have been. Oh,
I guess it'd be original. I
yeah,
guess, right?
yeah, I think so. I was trying to think of what else got in there for original.
Let me see. That's tough.
Man. I don't think I would have taken anything out, to be honest with you.
No, I can't see.
I know a lot of people would probably say 1917. I think that them.
I'm just happy that got in, so I can't take it out.
The other one I'm really thrilled about is Marriage Story. Marriage Story getting in for best original screenplay. That's probably the second best script of the year, right behind there. So before we move on to the next category, just going to address the chat here. I think Joker was Nolan-esque, and it was exactly what we needed because Zack Snyder cannot imitate Christopher Nolan to save his life. Fair enough. I think Joker, they borrow the grounded nature from Nolan, but it couldn't be further from anything Nolan's made. So that's all I'll say on that. But Joker was also heavily influenced by Alan Moore's Killing Joke and Miller's Dark Knight Returns. Well, yeah, that's part of why it's adapted. So. For sure. Following the Hun, it's funny how you mentioned Lynn Ramsey. She made You Were Never Really Here. Very Taxi Driver inspired. Also stars Joaquin Phoenix, who probably should have been nominated for that role. Yeah. I hope Marriage Story wins Best Original Screenplay. Noah Baumbach, in my opinion, one of the few that really can write real dialogue. Oh yeah, I completely agree.
Realistically, that should probably be the winner.
I think it could win. I mean, well, maybe over Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but to me, if Knives Out or Marriage Story take home best original screenplay, I'll consider it a win. So there's that. The Farewell should have gotten in. Completely agree. Farewell probably should have gotten in somewhere. I just don't know where. It's so tough. 1917 has no room for error. Yeah, very true. So happy Knives Out got in original screenplay, Klaus for animated feature, and Lighthouse for cinematography. Yeah, we're gonna get to cinematography.
Yeah, I was gonna say before we get to the acting, I did miss two. So we're gonna cover those before we get into the acting and directing.
For sure. Other than The Farewell not being in there, I'm happy for all the nominees. Yeah, for sure. Tarantino will get screenplay. Also, I'm in SAG, and many of my colleagues have actually lived that script. Actors are the largest voting bloc, so they will vote for that. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, no, there's a lot of relatability to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood script. I think my issue with that script is that I don't even consider it to be one of Tarantino's best scripts, you know, and I think there are other pieces of text nominated this year that are better, like a Knives Out, like a Marriage Story. To me, there's so much more going on in that I think is going on in Tarantino's script. But would I be mad if Once Upon a Time in Hollywood won for best original screenplay? Absolutely not.
No, that's why I'm so happy with all the nominees, and really can't imagine taking anything out and putting anything in, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I do think Marriage Story is pound for pound the best pure writing of anything we've seen this year, but Netflix seems to be a big negative on everything this year. I'm curious why you think that in terms of the negative, but I do agree that Marriage Story has some exceptional writing. There's a lot of love for Parasite in here. Yeah, I love Parasite. Glad that Korean cinema can get recognized, like you said there. Joker's not even in the same realm as Nolan. I completely agree. All right, moving on to the next category.
So we got production design. So we have The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite.
Yeah,
I'm actually shocked Joker missed out on this one.
On production design?
It, but
oh yeah, I mean,
just nominating it for everything.
Right.
But yeah, it's I'm Parasite. I'm happy that got it.
I'm happy Parasite got production design.
I didn't realize they built all of that.
I'm trying to think of what else I would have put in there. I think production design for the most part was good. Maybe
they got it right.
Yeah, I mean maybe The Lighthouse. I mean, not that they would have been nominated.
Yeah, cool.
Maybe wait, hold on, let me see the nominees again. Once Upon a Time, Parasite, 1917, JoJo. No, I think they probably got it right. Yeah, yeah. Not much to say there, but yeah.
Cool. Cinematography. We've got The Irishman, Joker, The Lighthouse, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, these ones not really surprised. The only shocker, and I am thrilled to see it in there, is The Lighthouse getting cinematography.
Yeah, I mean, I thought like maybe it'd get in because there was like some buzz on Gold Derby about it. I was like, oh yeah, that'd be pretty cool, but I never thought they'd go for a weird movie like that.
Yeah.
And it got in, dude.
Yeah, dude, it got in, man.
It's a well-shot movie.
It's an excellently shot movie. There's a lot in there, and Scott, I agree with you. The Lighthouse should have gotten in for production design because of the attention to detail in that film, just like it should have gotten in for costume design as well. But, yeah, the cinematography. I mean, this is Deakins. This is all Deakins, man. Also Hector, thank you for bringing up Midsommar. Deserve production design. Probably.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
But going back,
you know what deserved it, dude? Little Women.
Oh, what? Yes.
Yeah, Little
Where
Women
was
and
Little Women?
cinematography.
Yeah,
Cool. Yeah,
yeah,
that would be
those. Yeah. But I think it's Deacon's year to win. Very happy that he's in there.
It could
So
win production design too.
could I think it is a good shot at winning production design for sure.
Okay, so we're going to supporting actress.
We're going in supporting actor or
right.
supporting actress.
Actress, yeah.
Let's do it.
We got Kathy Bates for Richard Jewell, Laura Dern for Marriage Story, Scarlett Johansson for Jojo Rabbit, Florence Pugh for Little Women, and Margot Robbie for Bombshell. Where the heck is J-Lo?
What the fuck is Kathy Bates doing in there?
What
Is Kathy Bates doing in there, man?
She got in over.
She got in over the grandmother from The Farewell.
Yeah,
she
dude.
got in over Jennifer Lopez from Hustlers.
Nicole Kidman. Yeah, it's just weird. Like that's the only nomination it got too the whole movie.
Yeah,
Richard Jewell.
That's so bizarre. This is in the acting.
Done, like a screening right before.
I
voting or
know.
something.
It's
like,
just
ridiculous.
it's so bizarre. There are so many in the acting categories. There are so many just questionable decisions, and this is the side of things where I thought the Academy really played it safe. I really just don't understand. Scarlett for JoJo, yeah, I get it. I thought she was good in that movie. I just don't. What are you laughing at?
That comment. Can't just say stuff.
Oh yeah.
Throwing us off.
Throwing us off. Octagon, man. Come on. Going back.
Yeah, Kathy Bates shouldn't be there.
Kathy Bates shouldn't be there. But I also probably would have taken. I also probably would have taken out either Scarlett or Margot for the grandmother from The Farewell.
Yeah, going to Shifty's super chat, my favorite nomination surprise was Florence Pugh.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude.
That's
Florence
amazing.
Pugh.
She should be winning it.
She should be.
She
It's Laura Dern's Oscar to lose.
Yeah.
But I am thrilled that Pugh got in for Little Women. She was by far the best part of that movie. And I'm glad that in a year where she's really exploded, she was recognized. That makes me so happy. And if you go and you look at her reaction on Instagram, oh my God, dude, she was like, oh, the avocados is so awesome. So
Zach Braff.
Zach, that guy.
Man. Okay, so going on to Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah.
We got Tom Hanks for A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Anthony Hopkins for The Two Popes, Al Pacino and Joe Pesci for The Irishman, and Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No real surprise. Out of all the acting categories, this is the one that I'm like, yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if I could take one out, I would take out Anthony Hopkins. He's good in the movie, but you put in like a Shia LaBeouf. Who else?
Sterling K. Brown, Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, Willem
I mean,
Dafoe.
like, come
Willem
on,
Dafoe's
guys.
Yeah,
yeah, dude, it's like that one blows my mind. Like, I think Willem Dafoe gives gives a career best. Okay, maybe not his best, but it's definitely up there for
Willem. For me, I would say it might be his best.
He should have been nominated. We'll put it that way. Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's just that one was weird for me, and but I can't say I'm too surprised the way that people have been talking about Two Popes.
When we
Hopkins and
Pryce, people were losing their minds.
I know, and I was just like,
did we watch something else, like a different movie?
I know.
Dozed off
I did doze off during Two Popes. I couldn't. It was just too boring. But yeah, no, I completely agree, guys. Willem Dafoe should have probably gotten in there. You know how much I love Waves, guys. I really would have liked to have seen Sterling K. Brown in there. Or who's the other pick that you had?
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf for Honey Boy. That would have been exceptional. but yeah, before we move on to the main acting categories, we're going to go address the chat. I can't speak. A lot of you guys seem to be upset that J-Lo was snubbed. And Nene from The Farewell. Completely agree with you guys on there. Stop laughing. Kathy Bates was the most Oscar baity performance in the most Oscar baity film ever. I knew they were nominated. Yeah, and here's the thing, Scott. When it comes to Kathy Bates, she gave a really emotional monologue. And they are just like, oh gosh, we have to nominate her. But
yeah, it sucked because I mean, like I like the movie, but when I watched her performance, I was just like, you just won an Oscar nomination.
I know, but it's like, what are we doing here? When you have Jennifer Lopez, who is like I get it, saying a career best performance from J-Lo is not saying much, but like she is so good in that movie. Like someone as notable and as famous as Jennifer Lopez, when you watch Hustlers, I don't see J-Lo.
Dude, I was one of the crazy people and thought that it still might be a showdown between Dern and Lopez for the Oscar. I was like,
I thought so too.
Maybe, but
that blows my mind, man. But
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of you guys are happy for Flo and what do you say for Flo and what was it, Dern? So. Yeah, for sure. I haven't seen Greener Grass Shifty, actually, but I will trust your opinion on the production design being good for that one. A lot of you guys are not agreeing on the two popes, or I'm sorry, you're agreeing on the two popes thing, not liking. Pitt wins easy for what is a really great lead performance. Pesci and Pacino will cancel each other out. I think you're probably right, and I do think it is Pitt's year to win. Al Pacino was fun, but a horrible portrayal of the real Jimmy Hoffa. I'm watching a movie, and I think Al Pacino brought to life a larger than life character. So to me, Pesci was the standout of that, or I'm sorry, Pacino was the standout of that film. So Hustlers was just not an Oscar material. J-Lo is terrific, but I don't think I agree with you. I agree with you, John. And I think this is the thing. The Academy has a certain kind of film that they like, and movies like Hustlers, unfortunately, we're just not gonna make it in there.
Going off, dude.
Is he going off?
Dude,
yeah.
I'm sorry to ruin your.
No, it's okay, dude. It's fine.
Oh,
but
Scott, you got to see Hustlers. Dude.
Yeah, Hustlers is great. Hustlers is a Scorsese movie that does not rip off Scorsese. That has the same sort of like feel that you get when you're watching a movie like Casino.
It's a great movie,
and it feels 100% like Lorraine Scafaria's vision. So yeah. Anyways, moving on.
To Best Actress.
Best Actress. This is just sad. Oh my God.
So we've got Cynthia Erivo for Harriet, Scarlett Johansson for Marriage Story, Saoirse Ronan for Little Women, Charlize Theron for Bombshell, and Renee Zellweger for Judy. Ooh, what is Cynthia Erivo doing there, man?
I just have so many words. I'm trying to figure out how to put them in the right. I will let you give your thoughts first, but
No, I mean this one again. Really, no big surprises. I thought I thought there was like a 10% chance Lupita would get in, but I'm not shocked because they did the same thing to Toni Collette last year. They just hate these kind of movies for some reason. I don't get it. Cynthia Erivo, the nomination's just laughable.
That's so bad.
No one's talking about Harriet.
Where is Awkwafina? Where is
Lupita
Nyong'o?
Awkwafina should be the nominee. Like that would make the most sense to
me. This points to a larger issue that I have. Like in a year where we have so many great performances, so many diverse performances, and you look at the acting nominees, many of them deserved, but a few of them questionable, and you're like, yes, they're all white people, and then the one person of color nominated for an acting nomination is nominated for playing Harriet Tubman. That seems like I feel like that's a joke. Like it just doesn't. And to be fair, like I'm sure Cynthia Erivo is a great person. I'm really happy for her. But like,
no, she's a great actress.
Harriet is a made-for-TV movie. Her performance is good, but like, are you telling me that she's better than Awkwafina or Lupita Nyong'o? Lupita Nyong'o, who by the way could have been nominated for 2 categories here, for supporting and for best actress. Lupita.
Oh, yeah.
She plays 2 characters. How? Like, how are you? Like, what the fuck are you talking? Like, how does that not get a? Unbelievable. And I thought for sure Awkwafina was gonna get in. I thought for sure.
I did too. I was so Dude, the chat section's going on. They're being hilarious.
Oh,
dude.
good. I'm sure they are.
Dude,
I'm sure they are. I think us is okay, but Lupita, I'm glad you guys. Yeah, Shifty, completely agree. The Academy deadass looked at Lupita Nyong'o and said, "We prefer you as a slave." Also, the only person of color nominated, Cynthia Erivo, is playing a slave. Yes, Shifty, I completely agree with you. That's unbelievable to me. And then Scott, once again, the one person of color who got nominated was a slave. I know you can't even make this stuff like it's just absurd. I mean, come on, like you gotta like.
No, I agree, but I don't like it, but it just goes to show that the Academy does not care what people have to say.
They do
not care.
They don't
care. Not like the whole thing with Joker. Everyone didn't think it would go this far. Academy does not care.
And here's the other thing.
Throw it 11 nominations.
Yeah, and this leads me to believe that they only watch a select number of movies. They only watch like a few movies, maybe that their friends are talking about. They won't venture off and watch films like The Farewell, like Uncut Gems, like Harriet,
yeah,
I'm sorry, like Honey.
Like,
oh God, no. Like Honey Boy. Like this is exactly what I think that happened with the Best Actress thing. So they were like, oh. Cynthia Erivo, she's playing Harriet Tubman. Probably didn't even watch the film, but they're like, oh, she's playing Harriet Tubman.
Oh, no,
we should nominate her because she's playing Harriet Tubman.
No, yeah. I mean, I've talked to people who vote for SAG before, and like they literally told me, they were like, I just voted for this person because everyone else was doing it, and I hadn't seen the movie. People vote like that. It's insane. Like it's crazy. Like, watch all the movies.
I know.
Like,
it's unbelievable.
People, like they let that influence their vote. They're like, people are going to vote for her, so I have to vote for her.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
I know. This category more. I mean, there are several categories that irritate me, but this one really, really just rubs me the wrong way in so many different. Like, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
So okay, yeah, we'll move on to Best Actor. I gotta get. Oh Jesus.
So for Best Actor, we have Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory, Leonardo DiCaprio for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Adam Driver for Marriage Story, Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, and Jonathan Pryce for The Two Popes. This is my lead. Like, I hate this category so much.
Best Actor, it's trash. It's absolute trash. And listen, here's the thing: Joaquin's gonna win regardless. Like
you and I were talking earlier. I love the Leo nomination. I've been championing him all year, but the main two you and I said who deserve to be there the most: Adam Driver, Joaquin Phoenix.
They are the only two who should be in there. They are the only two that I agree. Okay, well, I'll say this: I'm very happy for Antonio Banderas. I think he's the one that I'm okay with.
I'm just happy with him because I like him.
Yeah.
I didn't really like the movie that much, but he's a cool dude, and I guess it's cool to see him get recognized. But I still don't think he deserved to be in there over like multiple other people. I knew Adam Sandler and Uncut Gems weren't going to get a lot of nominations, but when I saw that Florence Pugh nomination, I was thinking, well, maybe this whole like film Twitter like Florence Pugh push really helped her get that nomination. I was like, all these celebrities are backing Adam Sandler. We felt kind of like this weird little push for it. I can't believe they didn't nominate him. That's like a slap in the face. Like, I cannot believe they didn't nominate him.
Some of you might disagree with me. Sandler not getting nominated is almost as bad as Jake Gyllenhaal not getting nominated for Nightcrawler.
I agree. It's almost like, in Shifty, you were asking what I thought the biggest snub was. To me, this was the biggest snub.
This is it. This is it.
This whole category, it's just ridiculous.
And listen, am I surprised? No, because it's the fucking Academy. But like, this goes to show that they don't go and watch like smaller films. They don't watch movies like Uncut Gems because the people who saw Uncut Gems were raving about him. I mean, you talk to all these people in New York that were backing him, that were rallying around him, his friends, other actors,
all these celebrities. Like, if you go and look at Sandler's most recent tweet and his Instagram post, if you go read the comments and your replies, it's all celebrities saying like, "Dude, you're robbed."
Exactly.
Like even Miles Teller, dude.
Stood up. Miles Teller stood up. There you go.
Sandman, you were robbed.
Yes,
Seth Rogen, like all these people.
Yeah, and also Fong the Hun, completely agree with you. I would have put Eddie Murphy in there as well. I thought Eddie Murphy was snubbed for Dolomite. It's to potentially see Sandler and Murphy like getting like this sort of buzz around them, and to see them either of them not get in is so disheartening to me.
And the one I wasn't surprised because I saw it coming when I didn't see get a costume design, but Taron not getting into
Taron was robbed.
I was like, whoa.
What? Like,
whoa.
what?
They don't. Which I didn't love Rocket Man that much, so it doesn't really bother me too much, but I think he deserved to be in over Jonathan Pryce.
Yes, okay, listen, Jonathan Pryce is probably the best part of Two Popes, and I still don't think he should have gotten in. Half of his scenes were dubbed over in Portuguese. He wasn't even speaking.
I didn't even think about
it's unbelievable. And Hoop Studios, I thank you for mentioning this, because Waves had zero representation, and and it's a bummer. It really
dude, Kelvin
sucks.
should have been in over Jonathan Pryce.
Kelvin should have been nominated for Loose. He should have been nominated for Waves.
It Comes at Night.
Well, I mean, like several years ago, maybe, but like, it baffles me. It baffles me that they go for the same performances over and over again.
It feels like they picked these nominees back in October.
I know.
Like I just
it's
so boring.
It's
so boring. Like
it's so boring.
I'm happy Joaquin's gonna win. Like I've been wanting him to win ever since I heard this movie was coming out. Like I'm fully for him, even if Sandler was nominated. But that'd be kind of funny if he won. If Sandler won, that'd be
Sandler won, I would
but,
be okay with that. Yeah.
But it's just so boring.
It's boring.
Like Jonathan Pryce and Antonio. I like him, but like nobody saw Pain and Glory. Nobody watched it.
They're just like listen. People are. It just shows that the Academy is just tone deaf to everything that people are saying.
Yeah, dude.
Colby, I completely agree with you. If Rami Malek can get in for lip syncing as Freddie Mercury, Taron gets snubbed, even though he actually sang the damn songs. I know. It's ridiculous. Also, Colin, thank you for bringing that up. Booksmart was also snubbed. Booksmart probably should have gotten a screenplay nomination.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right.
Or directing nomination, which we'll get to a little bit later on, but. Yeah, just to kind of put a cap on this actor thing, the lack of Sandler appreciation, the lack of Eddie Murphy appreciation, the lack of Kelvin Harrison Jr. or Taron Egerton, there were so many diverse performances that they could have gone for. And look, I'm sure a lot of you really like Leo in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I wouldn't have nominated him. I think he gives a good performance, but I don't think he's doing anything that's good, Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm happy he's in, but if I'm given the choice to put Sandler or Leo in, I'm picking Sandler every day.
And it blows my mind because of how hard Taron worked to get the Globe nomination, to get the Globe win.
See, to me, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks, but it's like, it's frustrating. Before we move on, we're gonna address the chat here. I know a lot of you guys are as passionate as we are about some of these snubs and these nominations.
Stings,
that one really
today,
stings.
Everyone's kind of depressed on film Twitter.
I know, man. I know. Brad Pitt for Ad Astra. Call me crazy. I think Brad Pitt was better in Ad Astra than he was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So there's that. I disagree, Colin. I thought Margot Robbie was the weakest part of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Supporting for that.
Yeah.
Just because she was, you know what I mean? Because they picked some oddballs for that one.
Yeah, I know. To tell you the truth, 2019 was such an incredible year for film, such a hard year for nominations. I agree, but I also think that they could have taken risks. They could have ventured out and seen.
They still picked some stupid
They
stuff.
went with some really dumb decisions here, and it just blows my mind. If Rami Malek, which we already talked about that one, Adam Sandler completely transformed himself into a different person. I agree. Yeah. That's another. Howie Bling. We were talking about J-Lo transforming. Adam Sandler, one of the most recognizable people on the planet. Everyone knows who he is. You watch Uncut Gems, you don't see Adam Sandler.
No.
He completely disappears. It's unbelievable. As much as I loved, As much as I love Leo in Hollywood, he was just being Leo, and that's kind of what I go to. He's just he was doing his thing. Really good. One of my favorite Leonardo DiCaprio performance or scenes, the trailer scene in that movie, but I wouldn't nominate him, man. Shifty. Waves is one of the best films ever made. What a damn shame the Academy goes for the same boring shit they always do. Shout out to A24 for saving cinema.
Well,
dude, preach, dude.
Yeah, we were talking earlier. A24, they need to
They need more money.
They need more money, or they just need to save all their money for campaigning one of their movies, because it's not working. This is happening year after year, other than when Moonlight won and Lady Bird was nominated and a few others. But last year, a lot of stuff should have won that they produced, and this year they should have had 4 or 5 movies nominated.
Yeah, no, completely agree. Taron worked his ass off. Nothings. Keep Leo. Taron annoys me. Whoops, where is that? Taron annoys me. I'd like to stamp on him like a cigarette for. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, this is savage. Take Pryce and Banderas out. Put Sandler and Taron. Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal and Amy Adams welcomes you to the amazing performances that should have gotten nominated. Tell me, preach, dude.
Yeah.
Like Gyllenhaal for Nightcrawler and Amy Adams for Arrival.
Sandler's going to join them.
He's
joining
the ranks.
Yeah.
Should have been 1 Driver, 2 Joaquin, 3 Sandler, 4 Taron, 5 De Niro. Oh, thank you for bringing up De Niro. I think De Niro got shut out because he gave a similar performance to Ryan Gosling in First Man. It's so internal and so subtle and so subdued.
I can't really figure that one out.
That one's shocking because De Niro is the heart of that movie. Well, he's not the. I mean, like the movie.
I didn't like it as much as you. I thought he was the best part of the whole movie.
Well, he definitely is one of the best parts. It's crazy to me. Okay, if Joaquin Phoenix can get for sorry, we're losing the chat here. If Joaquin Phoenix for Joker, I agree, but he carried that film. If you take him out of the film, how did he get best? Oh, you're talking about Todd Phillips. We'll get to that. And you know what, House of Art, you make the exact same point that I'm gonna make here in a second. Now Sandler is gonna make a movie bad on purpose. Thanks, Academy. Honestly, I hope it's the worst thing ever made. I really do. Who the hell is Sandman? I see people mentioning Sandman. That's Adam Sandler. Stuff like Sandler's snub are reasons why I'm contemplating skipping this year's ceremony and any further. Hey, listen, you'd be people agree with you. People are in the same boat. Admit it all. Want to? Okay, never mind. A24. They need a better marketing and campaign team. I
just need money.
They just need the money, man. They can't.
They can marketing campaign. They're geniuses, but well. They're almost geniuses.
Geniuses.
It's not really working. But
yeah.
Need some money
for sure. Phoenix wins because it was just unlike a performance we've ever seen. Every actor loves it. And that's the thing. I think Phoenix ultimately will win. It is an exceptional performance. It is an Academy Award worthy performance. Totally fine. Yeah. This takes me back to when the Oscars nominated American Sniper was nominated for Best Picture in a year with so many different types of options.
I like American Sniper.
I like American Sniper too, but like I kind of get where you're coming from with that.
I get it.
Yeah. De Niro was tired. That's Adam Sandler's. And American Sniper was bland. Sad De Niro was snubbed. At least Sandler is happy for his mama getting in for Richard Jewell. Yeah, that was a nice sentiment that I saw on Twitter. Okay, we'll get back to the chat in a little bit. We went off a little bit there, so let's move back to our final 2 categories.
So we got 2 Best Director.
Best Director, yeah.
So we've got Martin Scorsese for The Irishman, Todd Phillips for Joker, Sam Mendes for 1917, Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Bong Joon-ho for Parasite.
4 of these are not a surprise at all. They've been the same 4 throughout the entirety of award season. What the fuck is Todd Phillips doing in there, man? Like,
I love it just because this is ridiculous and it's just causing so many problems. I do think he does deserve a nomination, but we talked earlier. The 5 I would have put in here, like in order, my favorite, I would have gone, like, you have to pick Sam Mendes just because that's a director's movie. He has to be number 1. Like, you just have to pick him. Yeah. Number 2 for me would have been the Safdie brothers. Like, you have to put them in there. That and Uncut Gems, like, being able to articulate all that chaos.
Yeah. Dude, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Safdie's probably should have gotten in there for something, but I mean, I know it would have been a long shot.
And then my next one, I don't know if any of y'all would agree with me. Noah Baumbach. I would have put him in there too, because again, you create this nice little piece of life.
Yeah.
There you go. So realistic. And then I would put Tarantino in that 5th spot. I don't really care.
You gotta go to Bong.
I don't care.
Yeah.
No. I guess Bong. Bong
you got to go Bong because Parasite doesn't fucking work without him.
I probably would have gone Todd Phillips. I know people say Greta Gerwig deserved over Phillips, but I think Phillips did. I think he did something more special than what Gerwig did because she adapted there's been 8 adaptations of Little Women.
Oh yeah, and Todd Phillips ripped off Scorsese.
But he flipped the comic book genre on its head.
No way, dude.
You and I both agree when we first saw the movie. We were like, Phillips is going to get a Best
Director
nomination.
I didn't want to be right. I did.
What he did was really special.
Listen, what he did was fine. What he did was fine. It was solid. It made the movie work just fine. He didn't bring anything new to the table. He didn't put an original stamp on the movie. I think when you look at some of the other people in consideration, like Greta Gerwig, like Lulu Wang, like Alma Har'el, like Lorraine Scafaria, like the director of shit, I'm blanking on the. Well, anyways, those are the Safdies, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Hell, I would have even accepted Taika Waititi over Todd Phillips.
I feel like people are just kind of freaking out for it because, like, dude, Todd Phillips, known as the comedy guy, completely
I get it.
jumped
Like,
genre. Like,
he made a great transition. He did.
He made this massive, huge, like, conversation piece that lasted for, like, you can't ignore that.
He
like,
made.
I don't know why people are so surprised.
I'm okay. I'm not surprised. I was just really hoping that they.
And I'm not saying he should win. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not even saying he should. Like, to me, he's like number 6. Like,
Todd Phillips.
Yeah, because like I said, I like.
Even Baumbach. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I put
Baumbach's
Baumbach,
directing in Marriage Story is so unintrusive that it's part of what makes it work. Like,
yeah, and he's just he's kind of doing. Yeah, exactly.
There's so many other people, and this isn't. I keep going back to this. It's just a lack of diversity. Among I mean, like, obviously the 4 that were always going to be nominated, totally get that. That's fine. But this 5th slot, you could have done something great. You could have nominated like a Lulu Wang for that 5th slot, or a Greta Gerwig.
I'm gonna get lit up for this, but I was telling you, I would have
taken up Scorsese, right?
Yeah, just because it's Scorsese doing Scorsese. It's like nothing shocking or surprising. It's nothing we haven't seen from him before.
Right, and I understand that to an extent. It's
like I feel like they're nominating him just because it's Scorsese.
Well, I disagree with that. I think his work in The Irishman is exceptional because it's him tackling a genre that he is most famous for, but approaching it from the ideology of a 70-year-old man. He's combining his faith exploration with his gangster movies, and he's exploring life and focusing on something for regret. It
feels easy for him.
I don't think it is. Just
because he has a background in that genre.
Right, but the process for getting The Irishman made is a massive undertaking, and the fact that he pulled it off.
Well, same for Joker. I mean, Todd Phillips had to go from malt and sell it, dude.
Well, okay, outside of selling the concept,
Warner Brothers only wanted to go in like. What was it? They only went in like 40% or something like that. They're like, well, maybe.
Well, okay, that's. I mean,
it's like the same thing.
I commend him for getting the movie made, but I also don't think. And listen, I think Joker's a well-directed movie. It's not an Academy Award level well-directed movie. I mean, where's Trey Edward Schultz? I mean, not that he would have ever been nominated, but all I'm saying is that all of the people who probably should have taken Phillips's place had an original stamp on their film. It felt like something personal that they had to say. Whereas Todd Phillips.
I was like, who's Scott Phillips?
Scott Phillips, this fucking Scott Phillips guy. Todd Phillips just felt like he was. People talk about a gimmick in Returns to 1917. I thought Joker is more of a gimmick for Todd Phillips because it's just an experiment.
Ryan did bring up the Russo brothers for Endgame.
I would have taken Russo's over Todd Phillips.
I'll give you that.
The Russos are doing far more than Todd Phillips is in Joker.
I'll give you the Russo brothers.
Oh, yes. Todd Phillips gets nominated for directing like he's one of the nominees. Yeah, I find the irony in that to be absolutely hysterical. But yeah, let's go to the comment here before we move back into the final category. You guys are talking about the Safdies a lot. Sam Mendes or Bong Joon-ho for me. I agree. I think those are the 2 that I'd like to see, but don't count out Tarantino. I want to have your opinion about this. I always think the best director should also win best film. He was the most responsible for the film, right? But lately, both categories have 2 different winners. I always find that to be a little weird. Sometimes I find that to be weird. I think in the case of what was it, 2015, when Iñárritu won Best Director, and then was it Spotlight that won Best Picture?
Yeah.
I think that's a case where sometimes the director is the star of a film, per se. So I look at a movie like Dunkirk, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's a bad example because I think that was probably the best film of the year. But for everyone else, I look at a film like Dunkirk, and I'm like, regardless of if that movie should or shouldn't win Best Picture, looking at the directing of that movie, it's so intensive. It's a master craftsman, really bringing to life this unique vision. And I think sometimes, while the Best Picture winner, while their director might be nominated, sometimes I feel like the Academy will go with the director that that really went there, that put their creativity out there, and that was the star of their movie. You know what I'm saying? Which I think is the case with Iñárritu and The Revenant.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see that one Best Picture, but I mean, Spotlight was phenomenal. So whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Going to some of these. Sorry, guys, my throat's getting a little. You want to answer some of these if you want?
Yeah. Matt Reeves already doing Long Halloween Sounds. Is that like the Batman thing?
Yeah. I'm thinking it will be an upset, and Tarantino will finally get his Best Director, and Mendes already has one. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe. What is it? I don't know why everyone thinks Todd did some magic or something. Even Kindergarten Kid directed show. Oh man, that's funny. Pop culture was good, but come on. If Tarantino was anything that night, I bet you he'll celebrate with a Royale with cheese and a $5 shake. Hey, maybe.
Probably.
Dunkirk is vignettes randomly shuffled. I think it's a little more than that, but that's fair. Do you feel the Academy should make separate categories for female director and male director like they do with the actor or actresses?
I do. I think they should now. And a lot of people would disagree, but we talked about this before. I think they should. Just to shut everyone up. Just do it, and it'd be more fun.
Yeah. I go back and forth. I think yes, in terms of because there needs to be more representation in that regard, but I also think that some of the women in here can really compete with the men,
there's no doubt, but
so it's like,
but like we were saying, there's so dude, Honey Boy, Hustlers, Little Women, The Farewell.
Yeah,
that's four. I mean, I know there's another one.
There's more, but
one.
Yeah. No,
Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Well, that doesn't qualify, but
right.
Yeah, there's plenty of people to do that. That'd be fun.
I think it's definitely something to consider. I'm not 100% sure if that's the answer, but or because you bring a good point. Does it devalue one over the other? I don't know. It's really tough. It's really tough. But okay, moving on to our final category, guys. That is Best Picture, and actually, it's probably uneventful. This to discuss.
They went 9 instead of 10.
Yeah.
Which sucks. Ford v Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. I was terrified the Two Popes was going to get nominated.
Yeah, I was terrified Two Popes was going to get in there too. Yeah, I'm not.
But no surprise.
Yeah, no.
I was just curious to see if they were going to do 8 or 9.
Yeah, because we knew it wasn't going to be 10 for sure. But all 9 nominees, 100% knew they were all going to get in. So really none of them are surprised. The one that did surprise me a little bit was Ford v Ferrari. But because of the impact that it had, I'm not really surprised by that.
It's always weird seeing a Best Picture nominee get it with only 3 or 4 or even 2 or 3 nominations. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I like the movie. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, no. Well, I wouldn't say it's.
I mean,
it's fine.
There's not a movie on the Best Picture list that I don't like where I'm like a bomb. I was scared Bombshell was going to get on there at some point.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, come on. That just kind of ruins it.
Yeah, no. I completely agree. Yeah, that would have been a bad choice. I would have liked the 10th slot just so that we could go with something interesting, like an Uncut Gems, like The Farewell.
It should have been an A24 movie.
Yeah, for sure. But overall, I'm just happy that Parasite got in. I was worried that it would be another Roma, but people really like this movie. Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, I was confident, but also you never know. It's the Academy; they could have fucked that one up.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That one is that was about where I thought it would be. So nothing too surprising there. Why didn't they go to 10? There's a system in play. I probably need the way it's set up in front of me to describe it, but they only vote if certain I'm not even gonna try explaining it, but there's a certain algorithm in place.
Preferential ballot.
There's a preferential ballot.
Yeah,
thank you.
It works. It's a very strange system that they should probably change.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. If you think about it, 1917 is the anti-Dunkirk, totally linear in real time without edits. I personally think that 1917 and Dunkirk couldn't be further from each other.
Very different.
They're very, very different movies.
They both approach the war genre in a different way.
Yeah.
That's how they're similar. They're totally different movies.
Yeah, completely agree. Ryan, 1917 or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is winning for Best Picture. I probably agree with you, but don't.
Parasite right behind.
With Parasite right behind it. The best dad movie gets a Best Picture nom. Yeah, Ford v Ferrari is the quintessential dad movie. That film is getting.
It's just like a crowd. Please, I mean, total like just it's on TNT one day. You just watch it. It's
I
like
know.
One of those kind of movies.
Someone made a good point. They're like, it's like The Founder with a car instead of a Big Mac.
You know what? Speaking of Ford v Ferrari, I'm surprised they didn't do Christian Bale.
I'm happy they didn't do Christian Bale.
No, I know. I'm shocked because they gave it a Best Picture nomination. I wonder if he was probably in the runnings. Like
yeah, he probably was, and it's just because it's Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Owen, hey buddy, how's it going, dude? Who do I have to fight to get Willem Dafoe in before February? You gotta have to beat up a lot of people in California.
9,000 Academy members. You can do it. I believe in you.
I believe in you. Yeah. Go question all of them. Do some vigilante justice. Ford v Ferrari is this year's Bohemian Rhapsody, not in terms of quality, but in terms of mass appeal. Yeah, I probably would agree with that. I think Ford v Ferrari is a much better made film than Bohemian Rhapsody, but it is universally loved.
Yeah, it's very much crowd pleaser.
Taking a sip of water. Holy crap.
Surprised Knives Out didn't get in for number 10.
Yeah, man. I was thinking about that.
Good, have two crowd pleasers in there because it was
dude.
People loved it.
I would have put Knives Out in over Ford v Ferrari.
Cool,
yeah. Ford v Ferrari is good, but selecting it over Uncut Gems or The Lighthouse is baffling. Completely agree, dude. It's just whatever. It's the Academy. Joker is kind of like Batman v Superman if it was more grounded and it was better directed. Come to think of it,
no one loves Joker.
Yeah, the Joker backlash. Here we go. So I have a big question for you both. I know that you both love 1917. I thought it was also a really good film, and people have to see this film. But I am almost sure that this film had a big influence of Dunkirk from Chris Nolan. If this film wins all the Oscars and big prizes at other award shows, I'm going to be a little bit sad because Dunkirk did some of the things that this 1917 also did, and it didn't win all the big awards. I don't. I've seen that kind of opinion going around a little bit. I don't think it was necessarily. If Dunkirk did anything for 1917, it opened the door to be innovative within the war film genre. I don't think it was.
I don't see Sam Mendes watching Dunkirk and being like, oh, I gotta make like a funky war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like this was just totally because Mendes is like on the same level as Nolan. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
this just seems like something Nolan or Mendes would come up with.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you.
Like any other director, maybe, but Mendes is like, he's his own.
He's
his own thing.
He's his own guy. Mendes. You can always tell when you're watching a Mendes movie because of how intimate of a relationship you kind of have with the characters. Yeah. Like even watching something like I was recently watching Jarhead, which I think is by far his most underrated movie.
It's a great movie.
That is an excellent movie. And it's a war film,
but it's not a war.
But it's not about a war.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's I think that's what he does really, really well. Whereas like Christopher Nolan with Dunkirk, it was about the event. It was like giving audience members a feeling, having them experience something as if they were there.
I'll say this: if Dunkirk had never been made, we still would have gotten 1917.
Completely agree. I completely agree because if you listen to Sam Mendes talk about 1917, he said that the only reason that he wanted to film it in real time was because he felt that was the most natural way for this story to progress. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at on that one. Parasite didn't get any actor nominations though.
It's kind of a bummer.
It is a bummer. I think there's probably a lot of categories where you could have inserted Parasite in there. You guys should watch Dan Murrell's rant about the Oscars nomination system and how it doesn't make any sense. I might have to.
He was upset about the Sandler thing.
Yeah, I know he was. I feel Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is going to win Best Picture, but I think Parasite should win. It was my favorite film of 2019. Don't count out Parasite, dude. Parasite still has a good chance. It's not out of this yet. Parasite will get Best Foreign Movie Award, so maybe it won't get the Best Movie Award. I still don't know if that's necessarily the case here. I think Parasite can win both awards. We'll just have to see. Guys, can we talk about ScarJo's double nomination, the 12th actor to do so? Yeah.
It's great. She's a great actress. She's a part of Endgame too. Like, huge year for her. So
big year for her.
Well deserved.
Yeah. I think her performance in Marriage Story is definitely better.
Yeah, I'd say it's her best performance ever.
Yeah, you probably make a good point there.
Probably so.
Yeah, I probably agree. I think
she's been good in a couple of other things, but like Marriage Story is like, man, I was thinking she was gonna win the Oscar for a while after I saw it.
Yeah, for real.
It's really competitive.
For real. Parasite's doing what Roma did last year. Actually, he's doing better than what Roma did last year, which is why
a little bit more hype with Parasite.
I feel more confident in Parasite. Two of my picks for Best Supporting didn't get nominated. Willem Dafoe and Jonathan Majors for The Last Black Man in San Francisco. Thank you for bringing that film up, Owen, because that was one of the biggest, like, just overlooked movies of the year. I was convinced earlier this year that I was going to probably be nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the movie a while ago because it came out a while ago, and I liked it. The performance is really good, but it didn't do much for me, so I didn't really think much in terms of awards. But yeah, Jonathan Majors is a great actor. He's going to be in a big movie soon. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, just so you all know, we have finished going through the nominations, so we are taking your live questions for a little bit, so send them in if you want us to comment on something. Okay, Shifty. Safdies will at least get one Best Picture nom in the 2020s, I'm sure of it. Oh, dude, Safdies are going to get so many nominations in the 2020s. I feel it.
They're going to be big.
Knives Out, where is it? Knives Out was good, but people won't forgive The Last Jedi. Yeah, but this is the Academy. I don't think the Academy really cares about The Last Jedi, so I don't think that necessarily had a bearing on there. I think Joker deserves everything but Phillips for Best Director. He did a great job, but there's so many incredible directors that got overlooked. We were talking about that. Completely agree. I think, Phillips definitely should not have gotten in for directing, and I also think that Joker should not have gotten Best Adapted. That is another one that I don't really like. 1917, do you recommend it? I might see it. Absolutely, dude. 1917 is a fucking masterpiece. Go have a blast with that film. 1917 had characters to root for compared to Dunkirk. Well, that wasn't really the purpose of Dunkirk. Dunkirk wasn't about individual characters. It was about the event and about placing yourselves in the shoes of these people as they're going through a terrible incident. It was an immersive experience that was more about creating a feeling for the audience as opposed to an intimate character journey. That's why I say they're two completely different movies. Dunkirk has about as much in common with 1917 as Kelly's Heroes. Not much. Thank you. Yeah, I completely agree, dude. They're two. You can't compare the two movies. They are so vastly different from one another. You will see up to 10 nominees for every major category very soon. This will end all the controversy, and the Academy is anxious to do that. Great to hear that, John. I think that it's just we need 10 nominees. And I know some people are like, well, what if there aren't 10 films worthy of that? Well, then maybe look outside tentpole releases. Look at these independent movies. Everyone makes a top 10 best films of whatever year list, So there are at least 10 movies each year that are worthy of a Best Picture nomination. So I'm glad that that's going to change soon. House of Art, Jarhead was incredible. Yeah. Dude, Jarhead is so good. I need to watch it again. Yeah. I know a reviewer talked to some Academy members about how much he loved Endgame, and some responded to either they hated it or didn't see it. Shouldn't they watch every movie? They should. It is very hard, though, for them to catch every movie, but I do think it is their responsibility to catch as many as they can.
Yeah, they should just. I know, like, a lot of directors, you hear them. I mean, you were just talking about Phillips not watching The Irishman. There are so many directors who are so busy shooting a movie that they just don't have time to watch all of the new things that come out. But they should dedicate a week to watching all of the more popular ones and some of the independent ones that people are talking about.
Yeah, which John Riggs actually goes on to say that. So I'm glad that we have a member, a SAG member in here to That's really cool. Shed some light on that. That's awesome.
Who'd you vote for Best Actor, man?
Yeah, actually, yeah. They haven't had the SAG Awards yet. Well, John, if you can reveal to us who you voted on, we'd love to hear it. This is why I respect... Oh, whoops. Where is it? This is why I respect Critics' Choice Awards, because at least every nomination body sees every movie.
That's a good point.
And that's...
Sometimes it feels like they pick favorites, so...
It does. They definitely do. I like the Critics' Choice, and I think it's a nice counterbalance to the Academy. I know some people think they're it's bogus, that it doesn't mean anything.
I
But
like watching it.
listen, the critics, like the Broadcast Film Critics Association, they have a huge bearing on audience goers in the industry, and I think film criticism and film journalism and writing about movies is just as important as filmmakers. So I love the Critics' Choice for that personally.
No, I do. I always love it. Yeah, watch it or keep up with it every year.
Yeah. Jared, oh crap, I thought this was my free camps. Oh, you wish, buddy.
You just missed it, man.
You just missed it. Scarlett was phenomenal in Marriage Story. Absolutely agree. Guys, big thank you for answering my questions. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, dude, of course. Absolutely. Thanks for sending in some really great and thought-provoking questions. I really, really appreciate it. Not a fan of Scarlett Johansson. Guys, I really hope for Best Director, Natalie Portman gets to present it. It would be both cringy and hilarious. That would be pretty funny. Maybe
There's no way they're
gonna
let her in it.
No, maybe not.
Near the mic.
Yeah. Star Wars got way more than it deserves. Yeah, I completely agree. Shifty, thoughts on the Morbius trailer? They spent the whole budget on Michael Keaton, so they couldn't afford lights.
True.
Oh, very true.
Yeah, it looks like total trash, but I can't wait. It looks like something that came out in 2005.
Yeah,
I gotta see it.
Completely agree with Tyler. I don't know what they're
It's
doing
gonna
over
be like
there.
Venom.
Yeah, it probably will be like Venom. I hope they learn the right lessons from Venom, but they probably haven't. It's Sony, so yeah. John Early. John Early. My brother didn't want to see Dunkirk because that was when the Allied forces were losing the war. I mean, I think it's still worth seeing. It actually for a film that has such like a menacing presence, it does leave you with a little bit of optimism at the end.
Dunkirk was real?
Yeah. It was?
What?
Wow. FilmSpeak question from Owen. Do you think one of either Bale or Damon should have been put into the Best Supporting? Do you think they would have had a better chance of being nominated? No.
Not supporting. Christian Bale was probably the most realistic choice for Best Actor, like I was saying. But,
I didn't even think Damon was that good.
He was good, but he's just Matt Damon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like,
and I thought Christian Bale almost went over the top a little bit at times, so...
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't have nominated either of them, so I'm happy they didn't get in. Look, I will say this. In a time with superheroes and blockbusters, it's so nice to finally see indie films and international films get support.